Manifestation is only hard when your identity is not stable, because we only ever manifest a version of you, right? So we need to fix you. Manifestation is self-mastery. How do we stabilize identity? By employing systems. And when we have a system, reality bends just as a side effect. That is what we're going to do in this video. We need system 1, that requires your home. We need system 2, that requires your phone. And then we need system 3, that requires your calendar. I will make this very practical so that you can just employ it today and start manifesting on autopilot, all right? I'll just draw it. Let's just take it slow. I'll be practical. I'll try to give examples, and then you can put the questions in the comments after this video, all right? Perfect. And subscribe to the channel if you would like more content like this. So, system number 1, right, requires your home. And we call that the morning recode. Morning recode. Right. And the reason why it requires your home is because we want to set the day off in the right manner. Because you are already on autopilot, you are already manifesting all the time. So if we don't change that morning routine, we are not really setting you off for success, right? So I want you to think of something at home that could instill a new habit into your morning routine. And it could be as easy as just layering a prayer mat in your living room, or it could be putting a post-it note on the mirror when you brush your teeth or when you make your coffee. But you will need to have something that triggers a reminder in you every morning, just in the beginning, because this habit only takes 10 to 17 days to solidify in your brain. After that, you don't need this small reminder. But just in the beginning, have a small reminder that sets you off to do exactly what I'm about to tell you right now, all right? So, thing number 1 we need to do is we need to set off our origin story. We need to have something that immediately hits our system, consciously, subconsciously, with this release of, but I'm not waking up as a burden, I'm waking up as a great gift from consciousness, God, Allah, whatever you believe in. And we need to start off with prayer. You can call it whatever, mantra, you can call it, you decide what you call it. If prayer sounds too religious for you, call it something else. It's important. And I want you to write out your own story or use ChatGPT, I don't care, but write something that immediately lets you know and your system know that you are off for success, all right? So it could be something like, I'm so grateful to have another chance of living my desired reality. I'm carried by God throughout the day, and I can't wait for all the miracles that are about to happen. I am a light, and I enjoy living, and I live in a life of abundance, love, and you continue, right? And then you end the prayer with thanking God or whatever you believe in. Okay, so you end the prayer by saying, "Thank you for this opportunity," and that's just it. Or thank you, God, for continuing to carry me. Or okay. So you have this saying in the morning. Then after that, I want you to build what I called the house of faith. And the house of faith is I need you to describe who you are every morning. And house of faith is what I call your internal boundaries. So imagine you have a house, you're the house. All right. So instead of an external house, I want you to build this new house inside of you. You've been living in an old house. You don't like the painting on the walls. You don't like how it looks. Change it. And you change it by reprogramming yourself. And you do it by simply repetition in the beginning. Okay. So you remind yourself of who you are every morning. And it could be affirmations, just I'm perfection, I'm love, I'm rich, or it could be whatever you want it to be. I would ask you to find 4 to 5 qualities, right, that you believe that you should have or might need to solidify even more. So you can say stuff you already believe in all of your system, but you can also say stuff that you don't believe right now, but you would like to believe, all right? Because God's candy store is infinite. So you have no ceiling in this house of yours. You can pick whatever you would like to say. But I want them in the beginning to concentrate on what would I like to create in my reality. If my word is my want, and it is, then I will be careful to select words that is creating on behalf of me. And I have areas in my life where my perception is streamlined towards what I would like to create. And I don't actually need to affirm that. But I do need to remind myself in the areas where perception is not streamlined in my direction, where I might feel doubt, even though I know that God carries my burden, so I can just let myself loose. But I will remind myself. So take qualities, traits in areas of life where you, quote unquote, struggle, even though you don't, all right? So you build that house of faith and you tell it to yourself. You can say it once, twice, 5 times, but you do it, all right? Then you will find your burden. And I will ask you to close your eyes, and I will ask you to recognize in the morning, after you've said a prayer, after you have set your reminders, I will ask you to find it inside. What am I lacking? What does my head go to? Oh, I need to solve this. I need to solve this. Is it money? Is it love? What is it? And I want you to take that burden, find it, and I want you to hand it over to God. Consciousness, Allah, source, whatever. I want you to hand it over. I want you to say, God, I hand over this burden of lack to you so that I'm free to have abundance all day. Okay? Just as Florence Shin would do it. Right? Handing over the burden. A wonderful thing to do. So take whatever you're lacking in the morning and hand it over so that you know, I don't need to care about the how today. I'll care about the state today. How am I feeling today? I don't need to take care of the channel of my abundance. I just need to take care of the state of abundance. The channel, the how, is up to God. All right? So hand over the burden. Good. And then final thing, I would like you, because this is actually an extension of handing over the burden. So when you have realized I'm lacking this, or I feel like I'm lacking this, I will then hand it over to God. Then I will find the fulfillment of it. So if I am free to leave my burden with God, and I am, then what fulfillment can I have? And so I will take that, the opposite of my burden, and I will take that fulfillment. I will just spend 2 minutes, 30 seconds, 5 minutes, whatever, however long it takes you. But I promise you, it takes a shorter amount of time than you think it does. Actually, you can close your eyes and you can just ask yourself, oh, am I really abundant? Or I'm really abundant, or however you want to put it, and you can instantly feel this good feeling inside you, that fulfillment. So find it before ending your morning routine, all right? This is the morning recode. It sets you off for success. You are rehearsing in your brain, in your system, a new way of approaching life, where you are actually not alone, where you are actually not steering the ship, you are actually just rowing. You're just experiencing life, and then God is handling the fulfillment of everything you need. Okay? Good. Number 2. And number 2 requires your phone. And we call it the story system. And we are at 10 minutes, that's perfect. So the story system is needed because you manifest you. It's you pushed out into physical reality. Everything comes from God and then through your mental plane and then into physical reality. So if you do not take care of the story you're telling yourself, then realize you are not taking care of reality. You cannot employ a trick. You can stay the same, just keep affirming a specific thing. I would like a car, and then get that car. But you will always fall back to identity. So the moment you stop creating a thing, then you will lose it because you'll fall back into old you. So that's why I need you to manifest you and not manifest a thing. If you manifest you, change your self-concept, what you believe about yourself, manifestation will happen automatically. All right. So phone, story system, very important. Follow along. So I want you to create several alarms on your clock, phone, today. You can do it 5 times a day. I would recommend that. Morning, midday, afternoon, night, going to bed, whatever. You decide. It can also be 3 times. But I don't want you to tell yourself that, yeah, but I can't do it. Or what if it rings in the middle of the day? Because this is more important than anything you're doing. And most people, they have like this to-do list, this calendar for their work, and then all this internal work. They just, yeah, but I have it in my head. I will watch YouTube videos at night. I'll read books. No. This mental work is more important than your physical world. So if you do something, change it around. I'll just fill my calendar with mental stuff, but you don't need to. But just take the example. Like, you should do this. You should do it right now while watching this video. Pause it, the video, and then. So 5 alarms. All right. And I want it to say, who am I? Right? I want you to answer this question a few times a day. And I started off by it asking me, who am I? And now it asks me, who does God say I am? And you can rephrase it in a way that instantly asks you, but also tells you. Okay? So you'll recognize why I changed my question was because who am I somehow was forgetting that I can pick anything. So I changed it. But you can if who am I is enough for you, because you can remember God in every moment, then just have it, who am I? Because the more simple the better. Right? But who does God say I am? Or who does God allow me to be? Or what would God have me doing today? Right? But phrase it so it instantly tells you this is important. Right? It could also be, am I walking in faith? Or it could also be, am I sinning? And sinning does not mean sinning in the old religious way. It means, am I stepping out of what I'm truly capable of? Right? And the reason why you need to do this is because you manifest your daily story. And you won't believe, just doing this for a few days, how powerful you'll feel. If you routinely, you're checking in with this instead of this self-sabotaging version of yourself that you keep checking in with, right? That keeps telling you a story. And when you ask yourself, who is telling this story? You'll realize you're only ever battling you. It's you that is sabotaging you, right? So you need to forgive that self, and you need to say, but I won't sabotage myself today. So I'll start by telling this story. And this right here, it sounds too simple to be good. But simplicity is what you need in a day filled with noise. You need this slight touch-up where you are heading off into the ground or off the road, right? And then you're just being reminded, hey, take the steering wheel, all right? So number 2, the story system. Tell yourself the story. And obviously answer this by saying, yeah, who am I? And then tell yourself your ideal self. Yeah, but I'm the greatest coach in the world. I am highly productive. I am a loving husband, a loving father. I am abundant. I am, whatever you want, right? Creative. So you don't have to say not about the things that you are currently experiencing, struggling, doubting, whatever. You can just say what you are. But who are you when God should tell you? Who are you when you should pick? Not when external reality should confirm it. So say stuff that you just know to be true. And you will know it into existence, right? That's the law of knowing. Everything that you believe about yourself right now is a story in your head. And that story is in your head because you have known it to be true for a while. And we will get into that in another video, right? So stick around on the channel. But you will just tell yourself a story, and the story will quite literally become what you live. You are writing the manuscript of tomorrow and the day after tomorrow by doing this. You are walking by divine grace by doing this. By always telling yourself, yeah, but this is what I'm creating. Instead of saying, what am I seeing? What am I seeing? Where can I experience lack? Where can I have more doubt, right? So you're turning it inwards to your consciousness, your awareness. But who am I and what would I like to create? Good. So that's the phone story system, all right? Then let's take the next one. Number 3, and we call it the action alignment system. And it requires your calendar. Right. And I want you to also do this immediately, so it becomes a system. Because back to what I told you, you use your calendar for work or private stuff, but you don't use it for mental stuff. When have you maybe some of you do, and that's perfect, but a lot of you do not put this thing into a system. And you don't have to, but why wouldn't you when you put so much else into a system? And this is the most important thing you can do. This will take care of a lot of the other things in your to-do list. Okay? So I want you to, in your calendar, 1 or 2 daily slots for, I'm just going to write, inspired action. All right? Inspired action. I would go for half an hour, if you have time for it. So let's just say 1.5 to 1 hour. All right. And you can start off by just doing it once a day, putting it in, okay, for this hour, I won't do anything else than what I'm inspired to do. Okay? So I want you to, before you do this, I want you to ease into it. So now it's time for your daily inspired action slot. Obviously, you should do inspired action all day. But now I'm talking to you that when you have a job or when you're slowly leaning towards inspired action or intuition. But because then you will realize a lot of what you're doing does not require a to-do list. Consciousness has its own way of memorizing stuff, because everything that you need in a moment is always accessible. So you don't need what you think you need to remember. But I think you'll realize that later on your journey, that most of the time your to-do list is born out of a state that is not necessarily the state the day after, where your consciousness actually has evolved or expanded even more to know exactly what you need to do today. So, but enough about that. I want you to put this into your calendar. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to find fulfillment, the feeling, and then I want you to ask yourself with eyes closed, what would I do now that I know that I'm already living in my desired reality? What am I inspired to do? And see what comes up. What comes up that you need to do? And for some of you, it's I need to begin that YouTube journey, creating my first video, right? And then that action is coming from you, from your higher self, from God, from infinite intelligence, right? Then do that without doubting it, because doubt is actually the vibrational discord in the middle. The action does not come from you. It comes from your question. So you are being met by this fulfillment to your desire immediately. Here you go. This is what you need to do. It could be writing a book. It could be going to the gym. It could be drinking water. It could be calling an old friend. It could be everything and anything. All right. But I want you to plan it out so that you don't spend your entire day, and most of you know this, right? If you don't plan your day, the day just takes over and it just runs wild. and everything is just on repeat. And what you thought you would do this week, in 2 months, you haven't done it yet because you have not put time to really do it. Right? So I'm not saying this daily slot should be working on your dream, but it could be. It could be anything. It could also be going for a walk. But I want you to prioritize you because that is actually what you're doing with this thing. All right? Good. So the calendar. And I also want you to put, and these are very important, I want you to, once every second week, so bi-weekly, I want you to, I call it drown days. I want you to, on top of your calendar, you don't have to move the stuff in your calendar, but I want you to put a huge time slot the entire day that is called drown days. And that day, I want you to find a mantra that is you, that you think is the opposite of what you feel you're lacking. And I want you to just brainwash yourself that day with that word. And that brainwashing sounds bad, but it's not. So I want you to remind yourself constantly that day, over and over and over again, who are you? Who are you? Right? So I want you to say, I'm abundant, or I have God by my side, or everything I want is for me, or what I want wants me, or my desire is now, or whatever you can whatever moves you. I want you to say that the entire day, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. I want you to try, and this exercise is not easy. You will fall off, and that's why it needs to be in your calendar. I want you to try it. In between meetings, when you're drinking coffee, you can say it out loud when you are alone in the car, and you can also just say it internally. But I want you to just sit in that. And what you're doing is you're scripting out a book that you later on gets to live in. Right? Your internal dialogue is you writing the book that you are going to read later on by acting it out in physical experience. So I want you to just do this. And it should be fun. It should not be, it is hard. Don't take my word for it, because you should not assume it's hard. I'm just telling you so that you don't feel blame or shame. Forgive yourself when you fall off. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. All right? You can switch it up throughout the day if you want to. But I want you to try this once every other week, a drown day. All right? And then I want you to bi-weekly. And this could be, I call it dwell days. And okay, drown days, they are about drowning yourself in dialogue, leaving no room for bad creation. All right? Dwell days, on the other hand, is actually what you should do every day, but you should realize you are not creating when you are active. You're creating all the time. But physical action is creating on the physical plane, but mental action is creating on the mental plane. So you can actually create, and that's powerful if you see it as effort, like you moving towards your goal. It's way more powerful to just create on the mental plane. And dwell days, you're supposed to find the feeling of fulfillment as much as you can that day. So before drinking coffee, before going to work, before a meeting, before everything. You can set timers on your phone, you can block it off in your calendar, but this dwell day is not about internal dialogue. It's about a vibrational shift. It's about pulling yourself up and recognizing I can feel like this way more. And what that is doing to you, it is changing everything in your system, every cell. You won't believe how powerful it is to just feel better, to find joy and find happiness. You are creating a system, an environment in you that is ready for way more than you are ready for right now. And these 12 days, they are supposed to be fun also, where you just say, okay, what does fulfillment look like? Close your eyes, find it, feel it, right? And then lean towards that. And then you'll realize, okay, now I have spent a day feeling very awesome most of my day. And you can combine these 12 days with what some of my clients does, and that is taking a day off. And say, okay, so dwelling in it also means dwelling in it physically. It does not have to, but then you can just spend a day driving go-karts or going to, I don't know, right, the beach, whatever. you can combine it with actually doing something you love, so that that environment, that day physical environment, will help you hold that vibration for the entire day. But you can also do it on the total normal day. All right. And that's it. So now we are at 25 minutes and we have something to put into our calendar. We have something to put into our phone, and we have something to put into our home. All right. So setting a system up to manifest is actually perfect. Because if you do this, it's just something that is just naturally in your calendar, in your phone, in your day. And then you can let go of, but am I doing it correctly? Because there's nothing to do correctly. There is, however, a self that you have spent 20, 30 years building. So when I say you can just know it into existence, that is true, and you can have everything you want by the grace of God. But there is a self you can fall back to. So the practice here is not to have you do work. It is for you it is actually so that you can have it easier. So that you don't experience what a lot of people experience by manifesting some, falling back to self and struggle and doubt, manifesting some, falling back to self. Okay? So we are taking manifesting things and putting it on manifesting you, the version of you that gets to experience a life filled with great fulfillment. So hopefully you can use this, and see you soon. Get out of here. Bye.